edition of NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here. Thanks for hanging out with us on this Thursday afternoon as we are just a couple hours away from Thursday Night Football. The Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Minnesota Vikings. We'll catch up to speed with the latest news and rumors from across the National Football League coming up in just a matter of moments. Also, later on, we'll do not one but two Q&A mailbag segments today. Use hashtag NFL or Super Chat to get on those mailbag segments. And then we will also be looking at Mel Kiper Jr.'s latest big board as well. Shout out your favorite team as we get this thing going. Let us know who that team is, and we'll show you some love as we get this thing started. Latuya, I am not Tom Downey. I can tell you that right now. Tyler Jones here. But nonetheless, Tom is here with us on Tuesdays. Juan Hernandez says, let's get started. Shorts is an Eagles fan. Juan is a Raiders fan. Peoples is a Patriots fan. Juan shouting at the Raiders. Mark Barron, a Browns fan. Let's see, I see Eagles. Laura's with the Niners. Latuya's with the Raiders. Juan with the Raiders. Niners saying, bang, bang, Niner gang. And then Owen says, go Browns. We showed those Bengals. Robert, a Dolphins fan there. So very cool. See everybody in the chat getting this thing started here today. Mark, not a Browns fan? Oh, will always be garbage. Okay. Greg says, bear down. Bears representing in the house here. Good to see everybody here with us on this Thursday. Who you got? Vikings, Eagles. Who's the team you're rooting for in this one? Who do you think is going to pull it off tonight? Vikings or Eagles? Let us know. MIN for Minnesota. PHI for Philly. As my partner in crime today, Smitty, Tyler Smith, is here with me as well.
Yo, yo.
We will bring him in. Smitty, I feel really good about the Eagles tonight. I think this game might be a runaway potentially.
Could be a snoozer once we get to the second half because Philly might be up by 3 touchdowns after 30 minutes of this game. I don't know if the Vikings can hang with the big dogs in Philadelphia. But what I will say is Philly's got some injuries on the defense, so I could see a lot of points being scored tonight. It's up to Kirk Cousins to show up in primetime and get that done.
Yeah, no question. I think that the Vikings defense is the difference of this game, how bad they are. Definitely the worst unit of anybody out here. Eagles got a chance to expose that. I think that they get this one pretty easily. Shorts is going Philly. Mark says tie game, please. For all that is holy, no ties. Laura and Wyatt saying Philly. Latuya saying Philly. Greg saying Philly. Robert saying Philly. Robert and Juan and Shorts and Latuya saying Philly. NMG Activity says Minnesota. Juan and Orion and Desmond and Brew Crew say Philly. Wyatt says Vikings O-line is hurting badly. And then I see an Eagles in there from Robert. Bearded Niner makes a good point. Cousins sucks in primetime. He's still yet to win a primetime game, I believe. Will the Bengals trade away Tee Higgins? We're going to talk about Tee Higgins coming up in just a bit. What do you guys think? Y for yes, N for no. I'll share my opinions coming up later, but want to hear from you guys first. What do you think? Is Tee Higgins, are his days numbered in Cincinnati? Smitty, what say you?
Tee Higgins stays in Cincinnati. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely not going to sign an extension this summer, so it's probably clipped for him after this season. They're choosing to pay Jamar Chase, which would be the intelligent thing to choose in this scenario. You paid Joe Burrow already. Tee Higgins, unfortunately, the odd man out, but hey, he's a number one receiver on quite a few teams in this league, so he'll find a home. He'll find a paycheck that'll be pretty satisfactory, I believe.
What I wonder with how they handle this, I think they will trade him. But are they going to do a deadline deal, or are they going to let the season play out, tag him, and then try to trade him?
I think they probably let the second option seems a little more. I don't think they end this season without Tee Higgins. That's what I'm thinking. That is my belief. I don't think you have as good of a chance in the Super Bowl because think about it. What they're probably going to receive back for Tee Higgins is draft compensation, and the Bengals are not in a position to be prioritizing draft compensation over a Super Bowl run.
I think if they were going to move on from Tee Higgins this offseason, this year, they would have done so before the season began.
Yes. Yes, they would have gotten a tangible asset that they could use this season.
Right. Let's see. Checking in the chat. What do you guys think? Will Tee Higgins get traded by Cincinnati? Y for yes, in for no. Let us know what you think. Joshua with a $2 super chat. Should the Bills trade for a number 2 receiver?
Yep.
Yes, they should. A lot of people point to the turnovers that Josh Allen's been committing, and it is a high number. I get that. But, Smitty, real quick before we hear from our sponsor today, I would say a big part of that is Josh Allen forcing the football because he can't trust his receivers.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. A guy like Gabe Davis, not exactly the most multi-dimensional receiver in the league. Stephon Diggs is as dynamic as all hell, but outside of him, they're trying to get this new guy, Deontay Hardy, in the mix. They certainly designed up a couple of plays for him on Monday night, which I was a little intrigued by. I figured they maybe go to a second-year guy, Khalil Shakir, perhaps a little more. But no, they got this guy, Deontay Hardy. They're working kind of like a Mecole Hardman role, which is, again, not the most multi-dimensional role a receiver can play. So, yeah, I mean, they don't have the greatest wide receivers at this point. I think a trade for a number 2 would be awesome for them. I mean, they could be in the market for Tee Higgins, even though I don't believe Cincinnati would make that deal during the season. They could be in the market next summer.
Yeah,
I
think
will
so.
Say, what I will say is Josh Allen, that game's completely on him. I don't care how bad your receivers are. That game's
3 picks there.
To the same human.
And the offense looks so lethargic. Yeah, I mean, should they? Absolutely, they should.
Yeah.
More to get to here on NFL Daily, but first, I want to tell you, today's episode of NFL Daily is sponsored by our newest partner here at Chat Sports, Odds Are. Now, let me make one thing real clear from the beginning. Odds Are is not a sports betting app, but its AI technology recommends the best bets you can make, so you can be a smart better. The interface is incredibly slick, and it's designed to be user-friendly. If you've ever been curious about sports betting or are looking for a more intuitive platform, Odds Are is your sports betting advisor in your pocket. NFL Daily viewers are going to get 30 days for free. You can experience the magic for yourself. Dive in and bet smart. Go to oddsr.com/NFL Daily. Now, let me show you the bets that I'm looking at. You want to look for the green value. That is one that says, I can't miss out on this opportunity. And you have one in particular with Seattle and Detroit. The over-under. A lot of people were expecting a lot of points in this game, but with Seattle's injuries on their offensive line, maybe not as high scoring as what some would expect. Look out for the under there, -110. Got some value on that one. Meanwhile, Indianapolis and Houston. This game, 2 new quarterbacks to their teams, right? Indianapolis with Anthony Richardson in his second start. C.J. Stroud with Houston in his second start. 2 kind of evenly matched teams within the same division. In this game here, I'm looking at Indianapolis to potentially pull off the upset here. Good value on them is just a 1-point underdog, and you can also bet on the under. Some value with that one as well. Meanwhile, New Orleans and Carolina, another good divisional matchup between these 2 teams. And I got to tell you, I'm looking at the over-under in this at 39.5. I don't think these 2 offenses are that great. Look for the under. Take the value on that. Don't miss out on the opportunity to get these bets courtesy of our new partner here at Odds Are. Not a sports betting app, but they are going to provide you those smart bets. That way you can win big this weekend. Sign up today. Get your 30-day free trial now at oddsr.com/NFL Daily. All right, there you have it. A couple more things before we officially get this show started today. Give us your hottest NFL take after week number 1. Week number 2 begins tonight. What is it? Get that hot stove going. Smitty, I'll start with you. Give me that hot take. What do you got for me?
Oh, man. My hottest take after week 1. My hottest take after week 1 is crazy. I think the Browns win the AFC North.
Really?
That's a hot take right there.
Okay.
That's a hot take.
Now, we say after week 1, were you that impressed? Were they got that convincing with that win against Cincinnati?
That's the thing. I wasn't that convinced, and they just took it to Cincinnati. I like their game on the ground. They have one of the best O-lines in the league. Now, they did lose Jack Conklin, I believe.
Yes.
But defense bolstered up, multidimensional, pretty good at all three levels. I like their defense a lot more than Cincinnati's. I like their defense a little bit more than Baltimore's with the way that they're banged up right now. I like their defense not more than Pittsburgh's, but Pittsburgh's offense is brutal. They are the most balanced team in the division, in my opinion. They have who could be, on any given Sunday, the best quarterback in the division. I don't think the gap between Burrow, Lamar, Watson is as canyon-like as some people think. I think Watson's still a very talented quarterback. We saw it for a couple of years. You just got to get back to that mold. I think the Browns' offense is super. I mean, the Browns' whole roster is super balanced. They have good coaching staff, good philosophy. I really like their game this year.
So last week on this show, me and Smitty were sitting here and we were talking about the Vikings-Bucks matchup. And I told you that I was very high on the Bucks compared to most people. I didn't think they were going to win the division, but I thought they could hang with Minnesota. They could make it interesting, and that Baker Mayfield was going to keep them in games. Smitty told me I was crazy.
You did kind of cook me on that one.
And then they ended up beating the Vikings. Here's what I will take a step further on as far as my hot take this week, Smitty. I think the Bucks are going to find a way to win the NFC South.
Ooh,
I think the Saints suck. I think the Panthers suck. The Falcons are going to be improved, but they're still another year away, and I don't trust their quarterback, Desmond Ridder. Watch out for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to get the job done and win the NFC South for the third straight year, I believe.
Yeah, that would be the third straight year.
So
Actually, probably fourth. Brady spent 3 years there, right?
The first year he didn't win the division. Remember, they went to wild card.
Oh my God, yeah, they played.
They played New Orleans in the divisional round.
Yeah, they played Washington. They played Taylor Heineke after his welding certificate test.
Let's see the hot takes coming in. GM Evans says Anthony Richardson is the best rookie quarterback out of this year's class. That's a hot take.
I think that's after week one. It's pretty undisputed as of right now.
Oren says Browns best defense. XD Gamer says the Bills will miss the playoffs.
Oh, I hate that take. You're already one way there.
Well, that is spicy.
You're 1/10 of the way there.
XD Gamer also says the Patriots will win the AFC East.
That's a wild take, XD.
Don't see that happening. GM Evans says Miami will make it to the AFC Championship. I don't think that's far-fetched. I need to see some improvement from their offensive line and from their defense, but it's not crazy. Robert says Falcons win the Super Bowl. That might be the hottest take of all.
Might be the hottest take of all time.
No, of all the takes that have come in so far. Yeah, that would be. Let's see. Oren says LOL, Robert. Brian's Brains says Miami going to smoke that Pats pack. Let's see. All right. Then Evan says Christian McCaffrey wins MVP. Interesting idea. All right. We are at 64 viewers at the moment. I got 15 people.
Today's
that
episode
like
of NFL Daily is
I need more likes
sponsored by our newest partner here at
go ahead and hit that like button. And when we get to 30, then we'll officially get this thing started. So if you want your team to win this weekend, then go ahead and smash that like button. Send some good vibes your team's direction to get a victory. The only way that I can guarantee victory for your favorite team is if you smash that like button. That's the only way I can guarantee it. Trust the science. Don't mind me on that. Hit that like button. Smitty, he's hitting the like button for his Seahawks right now.
100%. I needed that good juju for the Lions game this weekend.
The reason why that the Seahawks lost the Lions was because Smitty forgot to hit the like button last week.
Fact.
That's what happened. That's why they lost the Rams last week. Now he hit the like button, so the Seahawks are going to win. It's crazy how that works. 10 more likes, then we'll get the show started. In the meantime, while we wait on those 10 likes to come in, here is what's coming up today at NFL Daily. We have the latest news and rumors from across the National Football League. We're going to do a mailbag, 2 mailbags today, actually. Hashtag NFL or Super Chat to get on the mailbag segments. And then Mel Kiper Jr. here. I always loved those ads when he would open up and say, Mel Kiper Jr. here. He's got his first big board out. 25 players. Some of it I like. Some of it's a little crazy. I'm going to show you his big board because I believe you have to be an ESPN Plus subscriber to see it for yourself. So we paid for the content. That way you could see it for free. We'll reveal it, show you what Mel had to say on some guys, and I'll give my reaction to that big board coming up later on. So that is what's on tap today as we get things started here on this live edition of NFL Daily on this Thursday afternoon, Thursday Night Football tonight. Smitty, we all set? We good to go?
Believe so.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started here on NFL Daily. Coming up on today's show, we are talking about the possibility of Tee Higgins being dealt. Where could he potentially be traded? We'll tell you more in a bit. Also, Hunter Renfrow, could he be traded? We had some interesting comments over the weekend from Josh McDaniels. We'll show you what he had to say in just a little while from right now. Plus, Aaron Rodgers, retirement talk after that Achilles injury. Is his career over? We'll examine that and more on this edition of NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here. Thanks for joining us. Let's start with Tee Higgins. Bleacher Report has named the top 6 destinations for Tee Higgins leading up to the trade deadline. Is Higgins getting dealt? It might be more likely than you would think. Here's what you need to know about this situation. Recent reports came out that Higgins declined a contract extension offer from the Bengals. And the reason why, the offer did not meet what Higgins expects to be able to obtain on the open market. He believes that if he were a free agent, he would get significantly more money than what the Bengals were willing to pay him. Now, the Bengals could apply the franchise tag next season. As you guys know the rules, you can be tagged twice, so they could just hold on to him that way. They also could play out this year, tag him, and then trade him on the franchise tag as well. And the franchise tag price, not going to be cheap if the Bengals decide to keep him around on said tag. It's close to $20 million, $19.74 to be exact. Bleacher Report's top 6 destinations for him include the Arizona Cardinals, the Carolina Panthers, Detroit Lions, New England Patriots, New York Giants, and the Houston Texans. For me, there's one team among this list to watch out for specifically, and it is the Detroit Lions. And here's why. This is a Detroit Lions team. You saw what they did to the Kansas City Chiefs last week. They are here to stay. They are a legit football team. And when we talk about contending teams, the Lions have the most cash to be able to spend. If they want to make a trade for Tee Higgins right now, they very well could. They could give up the assets, have the cap space for it, and go ahead and extend him. Now, the more likely scenario that I think we're looking at is that Tee Higgins doesn't get dealt before the deadline. The Bengals go all in on this year, go get that draft capital in the offseason, franchise tag and trade there. So maybe it's this offseason, but watch out for Detroit as they are looking for more receiver help. Tee Higgins could be their guy, and then the Bengals get him out of the AFC potentially with said trade. Where will Tee Higgins play next season? That's our pinned comment today. We want to know directly from you guys. What do you think? Tell me the team. Is it Cincinnati? Is it Detroit? Is it somebody else? Chime in. Tell me where you think Tee Higgins is going to go. Sticking with trade rumors, we turn our attention now to Hunter Renfrow. Are the Raiders trying to trade Hunter Renfrow after he had not a single target last week against the Denver Broncos? Are they ready to move on? Was that a sign of sorts that he's not a part of their future by keeping him out of the offensive game plan last week? Well, Josh McDaniels had this to say about Hunter Renfrow and what happened. One of those where the game played out a certain way and the coverage dictated that the ball went somewhere else. So what's that is? Pretty vague there from Josh McDaniels on that front. More on this in just a moment, but first, let's tell you. Today's episode of NFL Daily is sponsored by our newest partner here at Chat Sports, Odds Are. Now, let me make one thing real clear from the beginning. Odds Are is not a sports betting app, but its AI technology recommends the best bets you can make so you can be a smart bettor. The interface is incredibly slick, and it's designed to be user-friendly. If you've ever been curious about sports betting or are looking for a more intuitive platform, Odds Are is your sports betting advisor in your pocket. NFL Daily viewers are going to get 30 days for free. You can experience the magic for yourself. Dive in and bet smart. Go to oddsr.com/NFL Daily. Now, let me show you the bets that I'm looking at. You want to look for the green value. That is one that says, I can't miss out on this opportunity. And you have one in particular with Seattle and Detroit. The over-under. A lot of people were expecting a lot of points in this game, but with Seattle's injuries on their offensive line, maybe not as high scoring as what some would expect. Look out for the under there, -110. Got some value on that one. Meanwhile, Indianapolis and Houston. This game, two new quarterbacks to their teams, right? Indianapolis with Anthony Richardson in his second start. C.J. Stroud with Houston in his second start. Two kind of evenly matched teams within the same division. In this game here, I'm looking at Indianapolis to potentially pull off the upset here. Good value on them is just a 1-point underdog, and you can also bet on the under. Some value with that one as well. Meanwhile, New Orleans and Carolina, another good divisional matchup between these two teams. And I got to tell you, I'm looking at the over-under in this at 39.5. I don't think these two offenses are that great. Look for the under. Take the value on that. Don't miss out on the opportunity to get these bets, courtesy of our new partner here at Odds Are. Not a sports betting app, but they are going to provide you those smart bets. That way you can win big this weekend. Sign up today. Get your 30-day free trial now at oddsr.com/NFL Daily. Now, back to Hunter Renfrow. When it comes to Renfro, I think that the Raiders do want to move on from him. It feels like it's only a matter of time. But who wants Hunter Renfro? I mean, in all honesty, who would want Hunter Renfro at this point in time? Why would you even consider making a trade for him when he's coming off such a down year last year? 330 yards, 2 touchdowns was it in 10 games played, not to mention getting hurt. The year prior, he was solid, over 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns. But the truth of the matter is this, okay? For me, here's what I look at when it comes to why I would be against trading for Hunter Renfrow if it was my team. You got guys like, let's just take example, the guy we just talked about a few moments ago, Tee Higgins. Why on earth would I trade for Hunter Renfrow when I could potentially have Tee Higgins or a number of other guys out there? Mike Evans' name has come up. I mean, Hunter Renfrow is way down the pecking order. So for me, I think the Raiders are probably going to be in a situation where if they trade him, they're going to get pennies on the dollar because there's other guys that get traded first that have more value the teams actually want as opposed to Hunter Renfrow. Will the Raiders trade Hunter Renfrow? What do you think? Y for yes, N for no. Chime in the comments section. What do you think is going to happen there with Hunter Renfrow in Las Vegas? Final note before we go, Aaron Rodgers. Is he going to retire on Monday? Aaron Rodgers suffered a season-ending Achilles injury on just the 4th snap from scrimmage. And as he nears his 40s now, is this it for Aaron Rodgers at this point? Will he ever play again? His head coach, Robert Saleh, weighed in and said, I'd be shocked if he goes out this way. And I got to say, I agree with Robert Saleh here. I don't know if it's with the New York Jets. I know they've invested a lot in Aaron Rodgers. It's hard to imagine the Jets just giving up right away, and especially since they're sticking with Zach Wilson. I think that they'll go through this season. They'll realize how much they really need Aaron Rodgers, why they brought him there. But you think about this. They brought Aaron Rodgers in to New York, not just for a one-year deal. The expectation was he would play a 2, 3+ seasons potentially with that New York Jets team. So with that said, I don't know if he'll be the same quarterback he was a couple years ago in 2021, but I expect Aaron to play through this, to eventually get back in that football field and more than likely end up back with the New York Jets next season potentially. So we'll see how it plays out. What is the chance? I want to play the percentages before we go here that Aaron Rodgers will retire and not come back to the Jets or play for another football team. Scale it for me, 1 through 100, how likely you think it is that we have seen the last of Aaron Rodgers in the National Football League. Folks, thanks for joining us here on this edition of NFL Daily. Make sure to subscribe for the latest happenings across the National Football League. We got you covered. We'll see you next time here on the channel. All right, mailbag time in just a bit. Hashtag NFL or Super Chat to get on the mailbag. And I know we need some more questions from you guys, so send those in as we continue. We roll along here through one segment down and 3 more to go. Hashtag NFL or Super Chat. Super Chats get to the front of the line. We'll answer those questions first as we get going here with our mailbag segment in just a moment. Tyler Jones, Tyler Smith here with you. Smitty, on that question, chances that we see Aaron Rodgers retire, I would put it at 25% or less. I think that Aaron's coming back. I don't think we've seen the last of him.
Yeah, I'd put it a little higher than 25%. I'd probably go 33%.
Okay.
Go to 1 in 3 chance. Because 1 in 3, or more than 1 in 3, doctors would probably not allow him to go back on a football field. Who knows? It's a serious injury. Ended a lot of careers. It's derailed even more. And he's 39 years old, man. Like, is he going to be able to move back there? How confident will he be able to move in the pocket next season? That's the question. And what kind of shape will he be in? Will he coast? Is this really going to be something that eats at him and strives him to be better? That's yet to be seen. He could be all talk right now, say, I want to come back. Like, Aaron Rodgers is a very dynamic human being if we haven't realized that yet. He switches up a lot. So who knows? He might not want to play football in a year. But the Jets did invest a lot into him, so maybe he's got a debt to pay them back when it's all said and done.
And that's another part of the equation. If you're the Jets, I think it could be twofold for you, where you could still draft a quarterback next year, and they sit behind Aaron. And this time, Aaron doesn't have an excuse like, when he was pissed off about the Jordan Love draft pick. This go round, like you say that, in the Jets case, you're like, Aaron, you're coming off an Achilles injury.
There would be legitimate communication surrounding that pick. There wasn't any communication when they picked Love.
Exactly. You would be saying, okay, Aaron, you are 40 years old now. You're coming off an Achilles injury. We have to cover our asses here. I think you can live in that world now. You couldn't live it in Green Bay a few years ago, but now you can live in that world with the young quarterback and with Aaron Rodgers coexisting.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's unfortunate the hand that Zach Wilson's been dealt, because he's under a bigger microscope than he's ever imagined being the Jets quarterback after Rodgers goes down, because all eyes are on him. That defense looked real good on Monday, man. They looked really good, and Zach Wilson did not. So that team kind of goes as he goes. There's whatever performance he's going to put out is probably the offensive performance that the team's going to put out.
Right.
Unfortunate.
Get your questions in for the mailbag. I need some more questions. Like Gabriel asking me what college team I like. Got to use hashtag NFL so we can get those on screen. I definitely need some more before we can start this mailbag. XD Gamer, Oren, Robert, who else? Steve. Get those questions in. We need some more questions before we get this mailbag started.
I know XD Gamer's got some questions.
XD
You had mad questions last week.
He's always got something on his
Always got something he's wondering about.
So get those questions in. Chat's a little quiet right now, actually.
It is.
And I'll say this. Now is a great time. If I can tell you this today, folks, if you send in a question, you are getting on the mailbag.
100%.
Super Chats will get theirs first. Like we had the $2 Super Chat came in earlier.
That's going to go on.
From Joshua. We'll start off the mailbag with that question. Brew Crew. I need the hashtag NFL for that question.
Yeah. Hashtag NFL thoughts on Jordan Love.
There we go, Tyson. Thank you. Brew Crew, that's a great question, but I need the hashtag NFL or Super Chat to get it on screen. We
Fact.
can't put it on screen for the mailbag unless you use the hashtag NFL or Super Chat. There we go, Brew Crew.
Yes, sir.
Tyson's got a question in. I need two more, and then we'll get going here.
Two more questions. Somebody give us a thought.
Two more, and then we'll get started. If you think of more as we're going. There we go, Oren. Got the hashtag NFL. So one more, and then we get this mailbag started. I'll answer all those questions in just a bit. And if you missed out on this mailbag, if you got to leave for a bit, whatever, we get another one coming up as well later. So you got two chances to get on mailbags today. Hashtag NFL or Super Chat for those mailbags.
Oren Smith, excuse me. Sorry. Who do you actually didn't put a space in between the AFC and the NFL there, so the graphic didn't pull up. If you want if you want to type that comment again, who do you have winning the AFC? Space and then hashtag NFL. That'd be perfect, brother.
Oren, one more try. Hashtag, put the space. Same text is fine, but we need a space between AFC and the hashtag NFL.
Yeah, because it just pulled it all up as one word. So
yeah, for our computer system. So. Oren, once you get that figured out, then we can get a couple more questions in, then we can get this thing started. XD Gamer, who else has got more questions? I want to hear from you guys on this mailbag segment so we can get this thing started here in just a moment. Hashtag NFL or Super Chat for our mailbag segment. There we go. Brew Crew with another one.
Crew.
All right.
Loading us up over here.
I think we got enough to start. If you guys think of more as we're going, then feel free to send them our way.
Keep comments and some questions. Any NFL questions you have about the season?
Yeah, send them our way, and we'll react to them in this mailbag segment we'll bring you here on NFL Daily. Smitty, we all set? We good to go now? All right. Well, without further ado, we will get started with our mailbag segment. Keep about 8 to 10 minutes. There we go, Oren. Now you got it. Now you got it figured out. Great job, Oren. All right, mailbag time here on NFL Daily. Let's get going with this mailbag segment. It's mailbag time here on NFL Daily. Tyler Jones here. Thanks for joining us. Time to answer your mailbag questions that you send us on our live shows that we do on our NFL Daily channel. You guys use the hashtag NFL or Super Chat, and we answer those questions on the channel. And I got to make sure you're subscribed. That way you, too, can be a part of our next mailbag segment. I know that I get people asking me all the time, Tyler, I want to be a part of a mailbag segment. How do I keep on missing these? Well, if you joined us on the live show, subscribed. We're live each and every Tuesday and Thursday. And you can send your questions in. Use that hashtag NFL or Super Chat. Subscribe. That way you never miss a moment. Can be a part of our next mailbag segment here on the channel. Let's get started. First question from Joshua with a $2 Super Chat saying, should the Bills trade for a number 2 receiver? Absolutely they should. And I'll say this. When I look at the Buffalo Bills, the big glaring weakness that I would point to is within the passing game, right? It's Josh Allen, for one, not having enough targets, but turning the football over too much as well. And I think the two kind of go hand in hand with each other. I would guess that if Josh Allen had better receivers to throw the football to, he wouldn't be throwing as many interceptions and turning the ball over like he is. Now, that doesn't completely dismiss the 3 interceptions he had on Monday night, but it certainly could help things if he had a better receiving core as far as that goes. So should they trade for another number 2 receiver? Absolutely they should. They should get Josh Allen all the help he needs to be able to make that push and contend there in the AFC. Laura writes in, hashtag NFL, who should the 49ers trade at the deadline to help their team with protecting the quarterbacks? Well, you already have Trent Williams, the best left tackle in the National Football League, arguably the best left tackle of all time. So you got some good help there. But as far as other potential guys go that are going to be available at the deadline, That's a great question. I don't know exactly who's going to be available at the deadline, but there is one guy at the time of this recording that's available as a free agent still. That's Dalton Reisner. I know that he's been mentioned with the Minnesota Vikings potentially and some other teams out there. If your team is looking for a good offensive lineman that's still available right now, keep an eye out on Dalton Reisner potentially to be able to be signed on your team. Could start right away if you bring him in. Robert writes in, who should I start this week, Tua or Herbert? So the Dolphins are playing the Patriots this week. That's a tough defensive matchup there for Tua to go up against that Patriots defense. Meanwhile, the Chargers are playing the Titans. And the Titans, this team, I'm looking at what Mike Vrabel's got in that bunch, and I think there's a big opportunity for Justin Herbert to have a big day. Not saying that Tua can't play well, but I think it's more likely that Justin Herbert and the Chargers play better against the Titans than what we see from Tua and the Dolphins against the New England Patriots. So I would start Justin Herbert if I were given the choice. Now, granted, let me preface all that by saying I'm not playing fantasy this year. I'm taking the year off, so I might be the wrong guy to ask, but that's my uneducated advice for you. I'll go with Justin Herbert to be the guy I would start this week. Kudos to you, though, for having both those guys on your team, though. It's pretty impressive. Pushin says, that's a funny name. Should the Ravens trade for Jonathan Taylor? Great question, Pushin. I'll just call you Pushin. We'll leave it at that. When it comes to Jonathan Taylor, I think the Ravens absolutely need to look at trading Jonathan Taylor. And here's the thing, when it comes to Baltimore, what's a unique circumstance for this Ravens team is that you have, the next 3 weeks, while Jonathan Taylor is still on the PUP list, to kind of figure out who you are. The next 3 weeks, the Ravens are in a position where they can find out if Gus Edwards, if Justice Hill, if these guys, Melvin Gordon, can get the job done. If they play well enough and look the part, then you can figure out and say to yourself, you know what, we don't need Jonathan Taylor. But I think what's actually going to happen is they're going to say, look, we don't have enough to carry this workload on, enough good running backs that we can trust. And the main thing is, as you change this offense there with this Baltimore Ravens team that Todd Monken's bringing in, he wants Lamar Jackson to run less. They don't want Lamar to have to put himself in a position to get hurt. You need a run game you can trust. I think when these next 3 weeks pass by, Jonathan Taylor comes off the PUP list, that he's a very realistic option for the Ravens to trade for. Very well could see this happening if Jonathan Taylor ending up in Baltimore. Will the Colts trade Jonathan Taylor? It's our pinned comment today. What do you think? Y for yes, N for no. Will there be a trade? Chime in and let me know what you think if the Colts will ultimately move on from Jonathan Taylor or not. Next question from Junior Estrada says, should the Patriots trade for Tee Higgins? Man, so the asking price, I was thinking about this when it comes to Tee Higgins. I think you're looking at where Tee Higgins' value is, a couple things. First off, money-wise, franchise tag is going to be around $19.75 million for the wide receiver position next year. So you have to think a long-term contract is going to pay him even more than that. You're probably going to give him a 4-year deal. So he's not cheap when it comes to money-wise. Draft capital, a guy that's just now entering his prime is not going to be cheap. I think you're talking about a first, and then maybe even a second, and then like a fourth or a fifth potentially to be able to bring in Tee Higgins. It's expensive, but the Patriots can afford it. If they want Tee Higgins, they can have him. So, Junior, I like the idea of Tee Higgins going to New England and helping out Mac Jones there. I don't expect something to happen at the trade deadline, but this could be something to follow of a potential deal in the offseason to see where he goes. New England's not my favorite to land there, but I see him as a contender. Remember, they almost brought in DeAndre Hopkins, but ultimately decided not to do so. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is one of our newest partners here at Chat Sports. And the great thing about Game Time, it's an easy-to-use mobile app to get tickets to the games that you want to go to. Game Time makes it easy, and they offer the best prices compared to anyone else out there. If you want to go to a football game, a concert, a comedy show, they got it all. And folks, I got to tell you, a couple weeks ago, decided on a whim, you know what, I want to go to a baseball game. And my options were limited of when I could get a ticket, how fast, and still to make it on time and at an affordable rate. That's where Game Time came in, and they saved the day. They were able to hook me up, and they can hook you up as well. And here's what we're offering here on NFL Daily. You use the promo code NFL Chat. We're giving you $20 off. Yes, you heard that right. $20 off with the promo code NFL Chat. So go ahead and download Game Time. Terms and conditions do apply, and you get $20 off. It's a great deal. You get to see where your seat is, the best prices compared to anyone else out there, and you can pay within just a matter of moments. It's easy to use, and it's as good as any of them out there, folks. I love Game Time. You'll love it too. Download today, $20 off with promo code NFL Chat. Get your tickets now. Game Time, the place to be. Brew Crew 8788 writes in, what's your hot take on the NFL this season? All right, Brew Crew. You ready for this? Are you ready for this? No. You see what I did there? My hot take after 1 week, and me and Smitty were talking about this the other day. I said before the season that the Bucs were going to be better than people think. He called me crazy. He said, "What are you talking about, Tyler? You're being biased towards your Oklahoma guy." I said, No. Baker's the real deal. They have talent there. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Devin White. Don't sleep on the Bucs. And he told me, Tyler, they suck. They're one of the worst teams in the NFL. I said, Eddie, watch. Don't sleep on the Bucs. Then they beat the Vikings. I had the Bucs covering. I'll be honest, I didn't pick them to win, but I thought they'd compete. They won. They covered. I think the Bucs. I'll even take it up a step further. I think the Bucs might win the NFC South. In fact, I think they will win the NFC South. There's my hot take. Bucs win the NFC South. How do you like that? A little spicy for you, Brew Crew? You know you like it. You like that. Orrin Smith, who do you have winning the American Football Conference? Great question, Orrin Smith. The team I have winning the American Football Conference did not win last week, but they're about to get two players back that they desperately need. They have the best quarterback in the world, the most talented quarterback I've ever seen. They have, I think, the best coach in the NFL right now. The Kansas City Chiefs will win the AFC. I'm not wavering based on one loss against Detroit in just weird circumstances. And the other thing, too, I know people are going to point to, well, that receiving core just blows. Brett Veach and Andy Reid are not just going to sit there and be content with the receiving core not being that great. If they feel like they need to go get a Mike Evans at the trade deadline, Chiefs will go do that. Don't count out the Chiefs. They're going to still win the AFC. Bossman 10, is it possible for the Ravens to land Chase Young? It is. Glad you asked. So when it comes to Chase Young, it's a very interesting situation. Chase Young has been cleared medically. Sounds like the knee isn't an issue. Chase Young's okay. So that's the first big step. And you're looking at a guy that's a generational talent. I mean, if you were to build a pass rusher in the lab, he'd look like Chase Young, okay? Those guys don't walk through the door every day. Right now, you could probably have Chase Young for a second-round pick. Commanders didn't give him the fifth-year option. They're not extending him. They're clearly done with him. So the Ravens could use some help in the pass rush. Yeah, I think that's certainly possible. They could go Chase Young. I would expect it to be kind of a rental, though, at least for now. I don't think teams with still the uncertainty at the injury thing, although I don't think it's an issue, and it sounds like it's not, there's still going to be teams that are skeptical and want to see how he plays after the injury. I think you can trade for Chase Young right now, take on the rookie contract, see how he plays, and then figure out the extension in the offseason. I would think that's a possibility for Baltimore. Where will Chase Young play at the end of this season? Does he get traded at the trade deadline? Is he back in Washington? Chime in. Tell me what you think, what happens with Chase Young, and chime in the comment section below. Appreciate you joining us here on NFL Daily. Subscribe to the channel for more NFL coverage, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us. All right. 2 segments down, halfway home. We're going to go over Mel Kiper's Big Board next. And as Smitty and I were talking about this ahead of time, to give people a little bit of the preview, as you guys chime in and ask where Chase Young will play this season. To give a little preview on this Big Board, Smitty, a lot of it is, I would say most of it's very good.
Yeah.
But there are some in there that are clearly for clicks.
Little clickbaity from Mel, who, he's always been a hot take guy. He's a pundit. He's a Skip Bayless.
Todd!
He is the Skip Bayless of the NFL draft. Now, Skip Bayless, in his prime, knew a lot. The guy was a great writer, really good journalist. And then as the career went on, and the medium shifted, and the media shifted, Skip Bayless became all about the clicks. Mel Kiper, big dog in us, going behind a paywall now.
Right.
And now he wants to get a little clicky, which should not be your goal when you have something that's behind a paywall. Like, the people who are viewing your stuff, they're viewing it because they want to. It's not just Joe Schmo off the internet say, ooh, Bo Nix at 25, spoiler. Let's click that. Like, they're paying for your stuff, so you shouldn't have to be clickbaity with it. Be a real analyst, Mel Kiper. Stop being shady with your big boards. Be realistic.
Brew Crew, you still missed out on using hashtag NFL for your Jordan Love question. Brew Crew, I have another mailbag. I want to answer that question, but use the hashtag NFL. It's a great question. Use it. Next mailbag segment coming up in a bit.
Yeah, we'll get you, Brew Crew.
Brew Crew.
We're talking Jordan Love in that.
We will. Just follow instructions.
Yep.
Please? That's all I ask.
All right.
Oren says that Chase Young's going to Cleveland.
That'd be sick.
I feel like calling them your Browns after picking them to win the division.
Yeah, that's a big division.
If your Browns
My Browns
add Chase Young, then that changes the whole trajectory of that team.
Yeah, changes the whole trajectory of the NFL season.
There we go, Brew Crew. Now I can answer that in our next mailbag.
Yes,
Thanks for using
sir.
hashtag NFL, Brew Crew. Where will Chase Young play? Let's see. King Lane says Tee Higgins get traded to Detroit. I like that. And King Lane conveniently has the Lions logo as the avatar there. Where will Chase Young play at the end of this season? Chime in, tell us what you think. Now it's time for Mel's Big Board. Todd McShay got let go, so we will never hear again. Mel Kiper saying, Todd! I'm going to miss those days. Mel Kiper Jr. The guy's like almost 70 years old, still calls himself Mel Kiper Jr.
Yeah.
Eventually,
Not really a junior anymore, brother.
I mean, not to get dark here, but eventually Dad goes and you're just the guy, right? I mean, granted, I am not a junior. I'm not Charlie Jones Jr., but I would think there would come a point where if I was, I would say, you know what, Dad? I can't be going by junior anymore. But I guess it's part of the brand for Mel Kiper. With that said, let's go over Mel's big board, break it down piece by piece, and show you what it looks like right now here on NFL Daily. Smitty, we all set?
Yeah, pretty
All
much.
right. Let's roll here with our third of 4 segments today. Another mailbag in a bit. Hashtag NFL. Get your questions like Brew Crew did just a moment ago, and we'll answer them here later on. Right now, though, Mel Kiper Big Board here on NFL Daily. Todd! Oh, I'm going to miss hearing that from Mel Kiper. No more. Unfortunately, Todd McShay's gone from ESPN. But our boy Mel Kiper Jr. is still there, and he's got his first big board of 2024 out. With that draft coming up in April, it's never too early to look ahead at the top prospects. And here is the list of the top 25 players on Mel's list as we are, 2-3 weeks into the college football season? Let's get started. Big surprise, number 1, Caleb Williams, quarterback from USC. No shocker at all to see Caleb Williams at this spot. And Mel is 100% accurate when it comes to Caleb Williams. Listen to this. Williams is a gunslinger, and there are wow throws all over his tape. Even going back to his freshman season at Oklahoma, he's incredible escaping the pocket, making off-platform throws, excelling when plays break down. His improvisationalist skills are off the charts, and they are. And I'll even take it a step further than what Mel went to. I know this may sound crazy, but I think we could be looking at the most talented prospect in the history of college football in the NFL draft in Caleb Williams. He is that good. I mean, when you talk about guys coming out, we typically mention, when it comes to history, the Trevor Lawrences, the Andrew Lucks, the Peyton Mannings of the world. And Caleb Williams checks off all those boxes. Not only does he have an incredible arm, not only is he accurate, but, I mean, he can run like a wild man as well. Caleb Williams, he is him. He has got it all. And he's had it since he began in his first college football game with the Oklahoma Sooners when he led them from a come from behind victory against Texas there. So Caleb Williams, I think he's going to be spectacular. Mel's exactly right. He's got a bright future ahead. What do you think? Get your votes in. Is this an overreaction, or am I onto something here? Is Caleb Williams the best college prospect ever? Y for yes, N for no. You tell me in the comments. Get down there, weigh in on Caleb Williams. Number 2 on Mel's list is Marvin Harrison Jr., the wide receiver out of The Ohio State. Just a stud receiver and one of the best receivers we have seen in quite some time. Marvin Harrison Jr., as you would expect, the son of Marvin Harrison Sr., who was terrific with the Indianapolis Colts for so many years. Number 3, at the offensive tackle spot from Penn State, Olu Fanoshu is at this spot. A big hog molly that really can just do it all when it comes to pass and run blocking. Number 4, at quarterback from North Carolina, Drake May takes this spot. Drake May, I think most years, would be the unquestioned number 1 quarterback. More on that in just a second. But Caleb Williams happens to be in this draft. Here's what Mel had to say. He looks the part of a big-time NFL signal caller. Maybe he can make every throw with ease. He's accurate on the move. He can pick up first downs with his legs. He varies his pass speeds really well. He knows when to take a little off to make it for his receivers. Yeah, I mean, Drake May, if he would have come out in this April's draft, he would have been the number 1 pick. The year prior, he would have been the number 1 pick. And maybe even the year after that, who knows. But there happens to be a guy named Caleb Williams that just does everything so well. Drake May is really good, but Caleb Williams is just a little more polished. That's the difference between these two. But Drake May has got an incredible future, and he could be the number 2 player off the board potentially right after Caleb Williams. Today's episode of NFL Daily is sponsored by our newest partner here at Chat Sports, Odds Are. Now, let me make one thing real clear from the beginning. Odds Are is not a sports betting app, but its AI technology recommends the best bets you can make, so you can be a smart bettor. The interface is incredibly slick, and it's designed to be user-friendly. If you've ever been curious about sports betting or are looking for a more intuitive platform, Odds Are is your sports betting advisor in your pocket. NFL Daily viewers are going to get 30 days for free. You can experience the magic for yourself. Dive in and bet smart. Go to oddsr.com/NFL Daily. Now, let me show you the bets that I'm looking at. You want to look for the green value. That is one that says I can't miss out on this opportunity. And you have one in particular with Seattle and Detroit. The over-under. A lot of people were expecting a lot of points in this game, but with Seattle's injuries on their offensive line, maybe not as high scoring as what some would expect. Look out for the under there. Minus 110. Got some value on that one. Meanwhile, Indianapolis and Houston. This game, two new quarterbacks to their teams, right? Indianapolis with Anthony Richardson in his second start. C.J. Stroud with Houston in his second start. Two kind of evenly matched teams within the same division. In this game here, I'm looking at Indianapolis to potentially pull off the upset here. Good value on them is just a 1-point underdog, and you can also bet on the under. Some value with that one as well. Meanwhile, New Orleans and Carolina, another good divisional matchup between these two teams. And I got to tell you, I'm looking at the over-under in this at 39.5. I don't think these two offenses are that great. Look for the under. Take the value on that. Don't miss out on the opportunity to get these bets, courtesy of our new partner here at Odds Are. Not a sports betting app, but they are going to provide you those smart bets. That way you can win big this weekend. Sign up today. Get your 30-day free trial now at oddsr.com/NFL Daily. Next on Mel's Big Board, we turn our attention to Shadeur Sanders, the starting quarterback out of Colorado that's taken the college football world by storm. His dad, Coach Prime, has done an incredible job assembling that roster, but his biggest get may have been bringing his own son to Boulder, and he's looked the part so far to this point, catching Mel's attention, saying Sanders is unflappable. He throws a great ball, showcasing pinpoint accuracy on intermediate routes, and a heater when he needs it across the middle of the field. He can throw strikes on the move to his right or left. He's an excellent decision maker and is highly competitive. It's only been 2 FBS starts for Shadeur Sanders, so I wouldn't have put him at number 5 already. Not saying he won't be number 5, but to me it's a little quick on Shadeur Sanders. With that said, high football IQ, great leader, has a swagger about him too. I mean, when your dad's Deion Sanders, you're going to play with some confidence. And we've seen that already through the first couple weeks of the college football season. All of that cannot be denied. Obviously, there's still work to be done. It's a long season ahead, but so far, I like what I've seen from Shadeur Sanders to this point, making a strong case of why he should be an NFL quarterback. Better guy. Which quarterback would you rather have on your NFL team? Drake May or Shadeur Sanders? If it's Drake May, type DM. If it's Shadeur Sanders, type SS. Let us know what you think. Which player would you rather have on your team? Number 6 on Mel Kiper's Big Board is Brock Bowser's. He's been the best tight end in college football the last few seasons. And we've been just waiting for him to be draft eligible at this point because this guy does it all. When you're talking about as a receiver, a blocker, he looks the part and everything. There's no reason why Bowser's can't be a star in the NFL. Jared Verse at the edge position from Penn State rolls in at number 7. Played a very good game against LSU a couple weeks ago in that national primetime game. Joe Alt at offensive tackle rolls in at number 8 from Notre Dame. Number 9, the best name in all of college football, none other than Kool-Aid McKinstry, the corner from Alabama. And I got to tell you, this is another guy that can do it all. He can be lockdown coverage. He's going to create turnovers. Kool-Aid is going to be a household name in no time if he isn't already. Number 10 at the edge rusher spot. Another great name. Chop Robinson. You better believe he's going to be chopping wood in the National Football League. And that rounds out the top 10. Number 11, we go offensive tackle. Find J.C. Latham with this spot. Well, number 12 belongs to another Penn State Nittany Lion. A lot of Penn State players making the list as Caitlin King at corner gets this spot. Seems like it's a back and forth between Alabama and Penn State players. At 13, you find Dallas Turner, one of the best defensive players in college football, holding on to that spot. Number 14 from the U, Leonard Taylor III at the defensive tackle position, one of the only few bright spots from that Miami team this year. And then we find our next quarterback. At number 15, from the University of Texas, Quinn Ewers holds this position. Here is what Mel said about Quinn Ewers and his performance taking down Alabama on the road last Saturday night. He showed outstanding touch and accuracy on his deep throws and was precise to all points on the field. He was decisive in his reads and was fantastic maneuvering the pocket, keeping his eyes down the field to find targets. That's what he can be if he plays to his talent level. The main thing that we need to see, I think, from Quinn Ewers is consistency at a high level. He's had the moments, right? Alabama last week, being a part of that massive win against Oklahoma last year, 49-0. He has played well in some big-time games in his first 2 years of college football. But while he played well against Alabama the week prior against Rice, he didn't play that great. If he can show more of that consistency to play at that level of the former number one player in the country coming out of high school like he was, then watch out. Quinn Ewers is going to be one of the top picks in this next April's draft. And with Arch Manning on the way, Malik Murphy, of course, pretty dang good in his own right. I expect Quinn to declare for this next April's draft, barring something catastrophic happening. Quinn will be there. Is Texas back? It was a big win against Alabama, no question about it. What do you think? HY for hell yes. HN for hell no. I'm a believer, much as it pains me to say. I'm a believer in this Texas team. I think Texas is back. Is Texas back? Tell me what you think. Well, his professor would not let him turn in his homework late, but he got a win against Clemson anyway. Riley Leonard gets the number 16 spot, and the nation learned all about Riley Leonard a couple weeks ago with that big-time upset win when he played so well into that performance. Keon Coleman at the wide receiver spot for Florida State. Florida State loaded with a lot of talent, and Jordan Travis seems to have a really good connection with Keon Coleman there. At the defensive tackle spot, Chris Jenkins from Michigan hold things down at number 18 overall. 19, also at defensive tackle, is Jerzon Newton from the University of Illinois. Meanwhile, at number 20, we go to the LSU Tigers, and that's where we find Malik Neighbors holding down that spot. The final 5 players, we started off with one Ohio State receiver at the top and Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, Emeka Egbuka is next on the list at 21 on Mel's big board. 22 is corner Cooper DeJean from Iowa, holding down that spot. A white corner, 22. He must be doing something right. 23, offensive tackle from Arizona, is Jordan Morgan. Meanwhile, at the number 24 spot is Latu, edge rusher from UCLA at number 24 overall. Then rounding out the list, this is the one I have the biggest issue with of all. Bo Nix, quarterback from Oregon, formerly of the Auburn Tigers, makes it as the final player in the top 25 after what has been a roller coaster of a college career for Bo Nix. Coming off a strong finish to last season, Mel thinks he can be an NFL quarterback. More from Mel. I've moved Nix way up the board. He was magnificent in 2022, completing a stellar 71.9% of his passes while throwing 29 touchdown passes with 7 picks and adding 14 rushing scores. That's a Joe Burrow-esque rise after transferring. Nix has a strong arm, can drop dimes on the run. I get the comparison where Mel's trying to make it, but I think this is asinine to ever be comparing Bo Nix to Joe Burrow. Look, Bo Nix is like older than my grandpa. He's been in college for 6 years now. He better be playing at this high level. But I've seen too much inconsistency, too many boneheaded moves from Bo Nix over the years to ever consider him a top NFL quarterback. He's not it. Bo Nix ain't that guy. Sorry, Mel. I think you're going to regret putting Bo Nix at 25 right now because he's not going to be a first-round pick. Blood bank guarantee it's not happening. I can tell you that right now. Mel's big board, it was interesting. Some of the stuff he was spot on. Others, out of left field. Graded for me. I'd give his board about a B- or C+. If he didn't have Bo Nix on there, I probably would have had a higher grade. Give me your grade in the comments section. Subscribe to NFL Daily for more NFL coverage. We got you covered each and every day, talking all things National Football League, college football as well. Subscribe now for free. We'll see you next time here on the channel. All right. One more segment to go. Our mailbag, our final mailbag, hashtag NFL or Super Chat to get on the mailbag. Super Chat, and you can skip the line. And we certainly need some more questions. I know we had a few come in. Brew Crew had a question that came in. Let's see. Abram had a question that came in. There's a couple in there. So we'll answer those coming up in just a moment. So look forward to those questions that come in. Hashtag NFL or Super Chat to answer those questions in the mailbag segment we'll do in just a bit. Mel Kiper, the mock draft board, I got to tell you, that was something. Bo Nix being on there. I think Shadeur Sanders, I am very high on Shadeur Sanders. I think that he can be, he can work his way into being a top 5 pick potentially. No doubt about it. After 2 games, we're already putting Shadeur Sanders at that level? 2 games in? That to me was a little wild. Those were the 2 things that were wild to me. Seeing Bo Nix at 25, Shadeur Sanders at 5. That caught me by surprise. I think Quinn Ewers can move up a bit too. If he continues to play at this level, what we've seen, if he can be consistent, then he could work his way potentially into that top 5. But what a year it is for quarterbacks when you're talking about Caleb Williams, Drake May, Shadeur Sanders, Quinn Ewers, Bo Nix, and there's other guys that didn't even sniff that draft board. I mean, Dylan Gabriel could jump into the conversation. J.J. McCarthy could. We could.
We're going to know Michael Penix Jr.?
Michael Penix Jr., yes.
How is he not above Bo Nix? It's unbelievable.
That's criminal.
Criminal. He should be above Sanders. He should be above Ewers. He should be right there with Drake May. Michael Penix Jr. is just so far and away better than those guys that are just on this big board for clicks.
Those are a few names that come to mind off the top of my head. I think another guy to watch for, I think that he wouldn't be on my list, but I think that he'll still be drafted within at least the first 3 rounds just based on the raw skill, is Spencer Rattler. I'm not a fan of Spencer Rattler, but here's my point that I would tell you here, Smitty, and tell me what you think about this. I think Spencer Rattler, because the raw skills are there, the athleticism, we have seen him show off the arm strength, be accurate, move out of the pocket. I think somebody's going to fall in love with him at the combine or at his pro day, and that's where he gets maybe overdrafted.
Interesting. I'd be shocked if he actually goes to the combine. Watch him have one of those private pro days, goes to his people. His people are the ones with the stopwatch in their hands. You know how that all works.
What did you think of Mel's board there?
It's all right. Not much has changed. Not a ton has changed besides Shadeur shooting up to 5th, which is not the most egregious inclusion on the list. I think Shadeur Sanders is very good. Maybe is he a little too high on the list? I probably would say so. But he's super good. He looks very comfortable. I was at the TCU game a couple weeks back. Watching him in person, man, he looked so comfortable.
Was that the best college football game you've ever been to?
It's the only college football game I've ever been to.
Oh, that was your first college game?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, pretty lucky. I'm not going to lie. I will say I have been to Army games. It's very close to my hometown.
That counts.
Yeah, it counts. D1. So I've been to those. But first Power 5 game.
There we go. Yeah.
Colorado TCU. A lot of fun.
How far did you grow up from West Point?
20 minutes.
That's it? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I go to West Point all the time. Yep. Very often. We go there every Thanksgiving, actually. They have a beautiful brunch thing they got going on. The hotel where cadets' families stay and whatnot. It's super elegant, and they have a all-you-can-eat brunch. And we go there every year for my grandmother's birthday, which is right around Thanksgiving.
Oh, how about that?
Very cool.
We'll do a mailbag here in a bit. Hashtag NFL or Super Chat to get your questions on the mailbag. And I see Brew Crew's got a couple questions in there. Bruker, we're going to get that Jordan Love question in, I promise. Vibes practice, I see your question in. Let's see. How about them Niners? I don't see the hashtag NFL, but I do see, let's see, the best name in all of football is the QB3 for Oklahoma, General Booty. General Booty is a great name, but the guy is not going to be playing much college football for Oklahoma. Jackson Arnold there now, backing up Kellen Gabriel. Oklahoma's quarterback room is pretty dang good. All right, let's go ahead and get to it. Our next mailbag segment, hashtag NFL or Super Chat. Send in some more questions as we're going along. If you guys think of more in this next segment, we'll answer them as we get going here on NFL Daily. Smitty, we about set?
Just about set. Just give me 10 seconds right here.
Okay. Let's see. Checking in the chat. Who else has got potential questions? Oren, I see a couple from Oren. I see Bruker's got questions. Bruker also wants to know, do we do more than football talk here? Yes. At Chat Sports, we have a whole array of NBA channels. We do MLB coverage as well from time to time, but mostly NFL and college football is most of the stuff that we do here. So, but thanks for sending in that comment there. Let's see, Smitty, when you're pulling questions, it looks like for this next one we can go all the way back to Bruku's question about Deshaun Watson. Yes. Bruku did use hashtag NFL. With what Burrow did last week, do I bench him for Deshaun Watson? We can start. Yeah. We can take them from those questions on. So, let's see. Clayton says, "What up, Tyler? Just smash that like button." Thank you, Clayton. Even though you said "Go Cowboys," thanks for hitting the like button. Mad Chatter, I don't know what you're talking about. Goats don't throw 3 interceptions in a game. Maybe you and I saw a different quarterback on Monday, but that's not the goat. I can tell you that much. Smitty, we all set? All right, let's get rolling here. It's NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here, and it's mailbag time. We do these mailbag segments on our live shows where you guys submit questions to us using the hashtag NFL or super chatting, and then we react to your questions live on the show. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with our first mailbag question. Brew Crew 8788 writes, with what Burrow did last week, do I bench him for Deshaun Watson? Not so fast, Brew Crew. We saw Joe Burrow last year get off to a rough start as they threw 4 interceptions against the Pittsburgh Steelers and then had an incredible year after that. So it's not like they haven't done this before. I'm a little skeptical about Deshaun Watson long term, as he did not play great at the end of last year. This past week was a step in the right direction, getting a win, clearly. But I think going forward, even despite the performance there this past week, Joe Burrow is still the guy to roll with. He's got an incredible receiving core. I would not be benching Joe Burrow for Deshaun. ACB writes, which QB's bad performance from week 1 was a surprise? Well, there's a lot of different answers you could turn to, but the most obvious is Josh Allen. Josh Allen throwing 3 interceptions. 3! And I get it, the Jets have a good defense. But that should never happen. I mean, the only person that Josh Allen didn't throw an interception to was me. I mean, everybody was just having a day with Josh Allen. And Josh Allen, it goes to a larger story where he's got to do a better job protecting the football. Plain and simple. Josh Allen has to do a better job of taking care of the football. And I know some people are going to point to, hey, his receiving core is not the best. Beyond Stephon Diggs and Dalton Knox, that they don't have a whole lot there. And I understand it's a fair argument, but it doesn't excuse 3 interceptions in a football game. That was the biggest surprise. Donald says, should the Bears start Roschon Johnson at running back? It's a good question. I'm surprised that the Bears did not make a more aggressive run at the running back position this offseason. I thought whether it was in the draft or trade free agent, whatever, that they would have tried to find another good back there. I like Khalil Herbert. I'm a little biased because I saw him play a lot when he was at the University of Kansas, then ultimately went to Virginia Tech after that. So I don't think in this day and age, everybody makes a big deal about who starts and who doesn't. And I understand that, a lot of it has to do with fantasy owners and all that. But here's the deal. In today's NFL, it doesn't matter who starts at running back. You're going to play multiple running backs and a smart coach. A smart coach. Not everyone's a smart coach. But a smart coach plays the running back that's got the hot hand. And so does he necessarily need to start? I don't think it's that big of a deal. Roschon Johnson's going to get playing time either way, whether he's a starter or not. I have a burner now? Oh, okay. It's news to me. Will Mike Evans get traded? And if so, where? Well, I'm glad you asked, Tyler Jones. Great name. No, I don't think Mike Evans is getting traded right now because I am sitting here and I've been telling people, despite what Smitty thinks, that the Bucs are a decent football team. I have them winning the NFC South. Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans, I think, are a good pairing. Chris Godwin there, that offense can be better than what people think. The Bucs are an interesting spot. I would think, let me put it this way to you, Jonesy. If the Bucs were in full-on rebuild mode, if they weren't in salary cap hell, then trading Mike Evans would have made total sense. Trading Chris Godwin, try to get the assets you can, trade Devin White and all that, right? But they were kind of stuck. And so they're in this, rock hard place situation where they can't restart, but they can't be great either. And so I think Mike Evans, for now, is a part of their future. I don't expect him to be traded. If he were to get traded, I think it's all the teams that you would think. The Patriots, the Giants, the Lions, those teams looking for another big-time receiver there. So the question that we want to ask you guys in regards to Mike Evans, I'm very curious. What do you think? Chime in the comments section. Where will Mike Evans finish the season? Is it going to be still with the Bucs? Is it going to be somewhere else? What do you think? Our pinned comment today. Chime in. Tell me where you think Mike Evans ends up. All right. Brew Crew, 8788. Brew Crew's been wanting to ask me this question. And here we go. So let's get after it. What are your thoughts on Jordan Love? I'll say this. I'm going to be fully transparent, fully frank with y'all. I had my doubts when it came to Jordan Love entering 2023, as I think most people did, because the small sample size that we saw of Jordan Love in his time in the National Football League was not good. Granted, small sample size, but it wasn't good. And so I think with Jordan Love, we saw him play at a high level last week. I think we finally saw why the Green Bay Packers liked Jordan Love. Maybe he's not going to be Aaron Rodgers, but he just might end up being a good enough quarterback to get the job done. And if you're the Green Bay Packers, I think that's kind of what you're hoping for just at this point, is that he continues to be good enough. He doesn't have to be a superstar, but he can't be bad either. He's got to be good enough. And I think what we saw last week, there's optimism to believe that Jordan Love is going to be good enough to get the job done for the Green Bay Packers as far as I'm concerned. So, Brew Crew, thanks for that question there in the inbox. More questions to come here in a moment, but first, got to tell you about one of our newest partners here at Chat Sports, Game Time. Game Time is an incredible app that lets you buy tickets to your favorite sporting events, concerts, comedy shows, and more. And they have the lowest price guaranteed, an easy-to-use interface to make sure you get the best seats at the right price. 3 easy steps to get your tickets. Prices are easy to find. You can see exactly where your seat is, so you get that view of what it's going to be like when you get to the stadium. And then, voila, within a matter of moments, you are purchasing your tickets and you are going to the game. Now, yours truly. I am one of those type of people that I think on the fly and make impromptu decisions. A while back, me and some of my buddies, we decided, you know what? We want to go catch a baseball game. Let's go see the Texas Rangers. You know what we did? We got on Game Time. Boom, boom, pow. Got our tickets. Bam, just like that, and at a great price. And you can get those tickets too. Here's what you need to do. Download Game Time. Enter the promo code NFL Chat. And I'm going to give you $20 off when you download the app and create an account. Why? Because I'm just that type of guy. Game Time's got you covered. Free money right here. $20 off when you use that promo code NFL Chat. So, get to a game this weekend. Get on Game Time and get $20 off. You'll be glad you did with that promo code NFL Chat. Sign up now. Download the app. Terms and conditions to apply. $20 off. Promo code NFL Chat to get your tickets today. JJ Insights, right? Can the Raiders upset the Bills? It's possible. I would say it's unlikely. The Raiders, I didn't expect last week to beat the Denver Broncos, but they did. The Raiders, I think, are a very flawed football team. They got a lot of problems, but the Bills have to figure themselves out. I think this is the perfect bounce-back game for the Bills to get back on track. If the Bills play to their capabilities, this game should not be close. We'll see. Brew Crew 8788 writes, if you're Joe Douglas, who are you calling? Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters. That's who I'm calling if I'm Joe Douglas. Great question. If I'm Joe Douglas, who am I calling? And, you know, if you are Joe Douglas of the Jets, and you think about this situation, I think you're rolling with Zach Wilson for the time being. As much as you may not want to, I don't think you really have a choice. You made your bed, you got to sleep in it, right? And think about this with Zach Wilson. If the Jets did not believe in him to some extent, he would not be there right now. Remember, Saleh and that coaching staff that brought Zach Wilson in as a rookie, there's something they liked in him. And they still kept him around even after the Aaron Rodgers stuff and all this. He's still there. So obviously there's still something they like about Zach Wilson. But that said, you still need a backup for Zach Wilson. And there's a number of potential guys out there. The Gardner Minshews of the world. I'm not wasting my time with Colin Kaepernick, despite what that fraud Jamel Hill says. I'm not doing that. I'm not bringing in RG3, even though he wants to cry on ESPN because he's not getting any opportunities. Well, RG3, you sucked when you were in the NFL. So that's why you're not playing. So I'm not worrying about those hacks. We're not doing that. If I'm the Jets, that's what I'm looking for is those types. I mean, what's Chad Henne doing? I know he retired, but does he want to come hold the clipboard for Zach Wilson potentially? Those type of guys, veterans that have played in games before, that I expect the Jets to potentially look at. I don't think they're going to give up a lot for that backup quarterback position, but that's what they've been looking for. Veteran quarterback with a lot of experience there. CJ2K04, what are the chances Derrick Henry gets traded? CJ, great question. So from what I have heard, what I've been told when it comes to the Tennessee Titans, they are putting themselves in a position of kind of like a baseball team when it comes to the trade deadline. If the Titans are competitive, they'll go all in. They'll be buyers at the deadline. They'll make some trades, try to better that team. If they suck, and aren't very good, if they play like they did last week, keep on doing that, then they will be sellers at the deadline. I tend to think that the Titans aren't going to be that good and expect them to be sellers. And no matter what happens, Derrick Henry's not coming back to Tennessee next year. They're not going to pay him more money. So at the moment, I would think, yes, that Derrick Henry does get traded. But I think it's still a little bit later on after the Titans realize their season's not going anywhere and they start to sell the farm. So does he get traded? Yes, but not like tomorrow or even the next week. I think it's still a couple weeks out from that. Should the Titans trade Derrick Henry? What do you think? Live for yes, in for no. Want to hear from you. What do you think? Should they trade him? Chime in the comment section one way or the other. All right, there we go. NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Appreciate you joining us here on today's show. We are just about ready to sign off as we asked you if the Titans should trade Derrick Henry. Donald says yes. Will they? Should they trade Derrick Henry? Donald says yes. Jared says yes. What do you think, Smitty? Should they trade Derrick Henry?
Yeah, I mean, they're in a position, if they can get a second-round pick for him, then you've got to do that. I don't know what the price tag is on Derrick Henry right now. Do I think that they're going to win a Super Bowl? No.
Do I think that they can win that division? Sure. They're not the worst team in the AFC South. It'd be pretty hard to own that title. And I don't think that they're so substantially worse than the Jaguars that they can't win that division. I think it's still wide open for them. Pretty poor performance in week 1. They're already down a game. But I don't think that the Titans are some dumpster fire that needs to just sell the farm. If they are 2-6 around the trade deadline time, which honestly, I think that would be the record around then. I think it's week 8.
Yeah.
I would start selling. But
the thing with them, too, that division isn't great. Jacksonville is the clear favorites.
Yeah.
But injuries happen in this league. Let's say, for all intents and purposes, that that Jacksonville team gets a little banged up. What if Trevor Lawrence goes down? You're right there. You're right there with Jacksonville. So we'll see. We're about to sign off and call it a night. But here's the sub link in the chat. So you guys can make sure to subscribe for more NFL coverage on the channel. Smitty, a lot of fun this week.
Yes,
we will
sir.
sign off. You can hang out with us on Seahawks Today on Sunday. We'll be live for the Seahawks game against the Detroit Lions, bright and early, 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 noon on the East Coast. You ready for some Hawks football?
should be fun. 5.5-point dogs. Lock of the year. Lock that in. Very happy.
Let's go Hawks. Let's get a
Very
win
happy.
this weekend. Have a great one. Enjoy Thursday Night Football tonight. We will see you next time here on NFL Daily. Thanks for hanging out with us.